we used to play out at Redcliff, and Mark Wolf and I would play against Chris Osgood and Neil Little. They obviously were in a much better financial situation than Wolfie and I were at the time, and I remember we played the back nine first. And
so these are one Stanley Cup winner, two NHL goalies at the time, another pro hockey player, and a pro golfer.
Yeah, pro.
All right, welcome to Following Through. We have our mystery guest in the house is Tim Hall, former professional golfer out of Redcliffe, Alberta. Toured the mini tours with lots of other assistant pros in his young golfing life, and turned those in for a hammer and a stapler, and then rejoined the golfing world about a decade ago or so. And Tim is, for the most part, our group of golfers. He would be the winter host for all of us. He bought a very inexpensive
to us.
Yeah, inexpensive $30,000 or $40,000 golf simulator for his garage, and he dragged all of us through COVID by hosting us nightly at his place. Created a golf league, and we are lucky enough to have Tim with us. Welcome, Tim.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So Tim, what do you think? This is the start to your podcast career. You've left the professional golf ranks, and you've joined us here in the podcast booth.
Yeah, this wasn't what I was expecting. This is a much larger scale than I imagined.
Well, we figured like the Shank Shack, you have outdone what you would have at any store, so we're gonna do that at the Pod Shack. Or the Following Through. What did you name our podcast tonight?
Yeah, it's something new now.
What are we? The follow through. Yes. Based off of Moses. So yeah, welcome, Tim.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah. We also have Corey and Sheldon, as always, with us. And I just sent out a little bit of a sample of the very general theme. Corey was struggling with the meaning behind people.
Well, it's like the people's court.
Yeah, it wasn't just Corey that was struggling.
Yeah. Very big.
I was trying to get people to see that we were going to talk about the people we've come across during our time in the game of golf. So we tell lots of stories here, and we reference people, but we don't reference them in the platform for what golf is about. So all I've asked each of you is to think about some people, but I haven't given you any of the questions that we're going to maybe tackle tonight or we're going to look at. So I just wanted you to think of some of the colorful characters that you've encountered through golf. Maybe it's a one-time thing, maybe it's someone you golf with regularly, but I just wanted you to think of some of the colorful golfers or people that you've encountered on the golf course. And I just want you to talk about them or some of your favorite memories of that person or people. Tim, you get to start. You're the guinea pig for the start of all of the questions.
I get to start. Colorful people. I mean, I think we all had one who just passed recently that we all sat around and told stories, and always a character. I remember a few golf trips and Jerry Mack and his big jug of paralyzers, and roommates on an old works trip with Jerry, and him being a little afraid of a jar of Vaseline that was there. But there's been a lot of people over the years that in golf rounds and golf trips that
we've thrust you into the spotlight. So Sheldon and Corey are probably a little more used to getting something thrown at them. We'll let them, one of those two, start, and then we'll give you a chance to warm your feet a little bit.
Well, let's keep with the theme of Jerry's.
Okay.
And Jerry, whose last name I cannot recall right now, but had a car dealership and a wonderful golf swing. What was his name?
Jerry.
You always imitated his golf swing.
Jerry. I don't know.
He was the guy that fought for Sunday shopping.
Jerry Hensel, Jerry Ham.
Jerry Ham.
Jerry Ham.
Oh,
The ham bones. Yes. I
you-
was just
like,
talking about him the other day.
You could just run through the cast of characters like Jerry Ham and Bert Malton
Oh, yeah.
and Dick Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some wonderful days at Connaught.
Yeah, Jerry Ham. Yeah, he was about 6'5", 280. His wife was 4'7", 80, and their Yamaha golf cart just used to just kind of amble down the fairway. Well, bounce because the fairways weren't very good back then. Jerry Ham.
Yeah. But Jer Mack would be the original. He'd be the largest Jer out there, not just in size, but mostly in personality. For sure. Always a good time with Jerry Mack.
The old works trip was the first time I ever met him. And I heard about the paralyzers, and sure enough, there was an orange Gatorade jug on the bus, and he was passing those around. And then on the bus ride home, I remember we were watching Old School, and he had never seen it before, so that was kind of a treat too.
Yeah. I remember on the way home when Craig had given him a bottle of booze to claim at the border, and about a half hour from the border, Jerry Mack says, "Remember that bottle you wanted me to claim? You don't have to claim it anymore." Drank it all.
Well, when I was thinking about colorful characters, and I was thinking about what each of you might say or who you might speak about, and I'll throw a couple names out there in a bit. I thought we could do an entire episode on Jer Mack. Beyond the episode, or beyond the kinds of things that that Jer did, which maybe we'll pick a favorite Jer Mack story and try not to double up. You don't have to double up on Jer Mack stories, but Jer Mack was the most joyful golfer. He just never got sick of golf. It was as he was coming off the golf course, whether he shot 105 or 75, he just could not stop smiling that he got a chance to golf the next day. When I think I told maybe these two guys, Sheldon, I got a phone call about 2 weeks before Jer Mack passed, maybe 3 weeks. And it was Jer Mack. And I don't talk to Jer Mack on the phone over the winter very often, a few texts here and there. And my phone rings while I'm at work, and I don't answer because I'm in an appointment, and I finish off and I rush out and I'm going, like, what's going on? And I dial Jer, and he is Jer Mack. He is just right in character. "Oh, hey, how's it going? What's going on? Just wanted to chat for a little bit." And I go, he wasn't doing very well health-wise, and he says, "Yeah, I just had 14 pounds of fluid drained off my lungs this morning. I'm just sitting all, hey, Becky, can you get me a drink over here?" And I, where are you? He goes, "Well, I'm in the hospital." Yeah, they took, 5 pounds of urine or something off in the morning and a bunch of fluid off his lungs in the afternoon. And he was just the happiest guy. And so we talked for about 10 or 15 minutes, probably closer to 15 minutes. And he's going, I know, they're wanting blood again. Just give me a second, I'm on the phone. And I said, you doing okay? And he said, "Oh, can't wait for golf this season." Now, Jer knew that we were never going to have another conversation. And he knew he was not getting out of the hospital. But all he could talk about was kicking my butt on the golf course this spring. Because that's all he thought about. He just thought about golf as this perfect place to be. So that's my kickoff story of Jer Mack.
Jer Mack, I think we could do a whole episode on Jer Mack.
We might.
Oh,
For sure.
First person I ever saw to make 5 birdies in a row.
5 in a row.
5 in a row in a match play thing. Troy and I against Jer Mack and Todd Shifley. We play the back nine first at Connaught, and Jer shows up late. He's coming in from Burstall or something where he was laying carpet. And Troy and I are 7 up through 9 in a match play thing. And we come around to the front, and the first tee is just jammed up. And we're like going we're gonna have to probably wait an hour to get out on the first tee, but nobody's coming down 6. So we play 7, 8, 9. No, I don't think we couldn't have been 7 up. We were 5 up. We were 5 up, and Jer Mack chips in for par on 8, has a chip out on 9 and makes par to have those holes. So we're still 5 up with 6 to go, but like it's done, right? So now we come around to number 1. Jared birdies 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're tied. And in fact, we end up going to extra holes in the dark and pulled it out. But
Corey hit it to about,
I hit the pin.
yeah,
in the
about
dark.
2 feet for birdie, but Jared hit it to about 5 feet and missed having 6 and 7.
Oh, really?
What you didn't say is the start of that round when Jared came. Jared really loved. He loved to have a beverage, and he loved golf, and he loved his family. But when that day when he came out late, he had a van that he always drove for his work, and when he opened the door, like the bottles were falling out of the door because he had several on the way home to try to get home, so he could be primed and ready for the golf round.
Warm up.
Yeah,
I was just warm.
yeah. Anybody else on Jared?
No, nothing. I mean, could sit here and tell stories all day, but
I have a story that connects Tim and I on something that Jared Mack was present for, Dakota Dunes. Format Barassa's event had a little front 9 match play, and I think Timmy was out late maybe with Jared Mack.
I remember this.
it was the bad season.
And I don't know.
It was something. It was food poisoning.
Yeah, but on about the 3rd or 4th hole, I thought he was proposing to me because I couldn't understand why he was taking a knee.
I was in that group. You two were playing, but it wasn't even a match, Tim.
Yeah, it was not. No, I was over early that one.
So it was Tim crawling down the edge of the par 3. It was third
par
hole.
3.
It was the third hole,
yeah.
the par 3.
Yeah,
You crawled down
I had to go
edge
into
of
the
tee.
bushes to see if I could find any balls off the tee box.
Yeah.
I think Jared Mack also took the blame as why Bader never made it to the course that day.
Right. Yeah, he had to take a taxi. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got home at 3 a.m. and Jared Mack was sitting there with just his whiteys on, ready to still drink. He got up to get out to the course, but Bader never made it.
Yeah. That was that first morning of that trip. Jer was in the parking lot, sitting on his cooler, not the orange paralyzer one, but his cooler that he brought, and everybody's leaving for the golf course. It was a 6 a.m. We all had our own different vehicles, and there was Jer sitting on his cooler, drinking a squishy to start the morning at 6 a.m.
So best character of golf that I've actually never golfed with, Bo Labatt.
Yeah.
yeah. That's my
You're not
that's my white whale to get on the podcast.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, I was thinking, first of all, Jer Mack would be front and center, but knowing Mo had talked about his white whale,
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever played with Bo either.
I played with him in the 3-man the one year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like he was in the other group.
Yeah.
Oh,
But it was entertaining. There was never a dull moment.
Well, I think it was last year, or the summer before. It was one of these 36-degree days here, and that group, Ellie and Bo was playing in that group. There was 16 guys playing a match, and I was on 10 tee overlooking 18 fairway, and I was thinking, those guys played right in the heart of the day. Like, they must just be cooking. And Bo was in his group. And so the next morning I said to Trev, like, I can't believe you guys went out in the heat. Like, what? Were you guys drinking? And Trev said, like, I had 4 Gatorades, 4 bottles of water, and 2 drinks. And I said, well, that could probably get you through. And he said, but not Bo. Bo had a beer a hole.
yeah.
You can probably just run through the whole list of Redcliff golfers and have all of the characters.
Yeah, there was definitely a few characters out there. In fact, we played golf in the Cottonwood Scramble there last weekend and played with Johnny Uhas. And we were reminiscing, and Johnny was, because his kid was playing with him. So one team that day had 2 guys have a little too much on Saturday night at the auction and didn't make it to Sunday's round. And we were talking about it, and I said, Johnny, I think I remember that happening to you once. And he's like, yeah. And he had some big rancher, after he didn't show up Sunday, take his clubs home and sold them back to him for his entry fee and his calcutta money back.
That's a good move, though.
Yeah.
Wow. Why, who would have thought? Like that's a businessman right there.
That was Pat Page. Yeah. So
Sold them back.
sold it back. Yeah, because they couldn't play Sunday, so got his money back.
It was an expensive scramble for Johnny.
Yeah.
So let's go back a bit and thinking about your earliest moments in the game, and thinking how you got into the game, who were the people, or what do you remember about your earliest days from the people that got you hooked on the game?
I played a bit as a junior, but mostly just playing with the guys I played hockey with when we were 13, 14. And then I think I took about a 3-year hiatus, and it wasn't until I graduated that year that I wasn't really working or anything, went out to the golf course. And
So just as an aside, so you just played a little as a junior, took a 3-year break from not playing to turn pro? Okay, just timelines.
It was quick for sure. Yeah, I think I started playing again at 17, and I think I got into the business at 18 or 19. So it was quick learning curve. So, but I don't think I really played good golf until I was 2 or 3 years after that, when played some better golf. But you didn't have to be much to be in the golf business back then.
Probably drinking, gambling.
Yeah, that was a little bit of that.
Those ones covered.
I was going to say
Yeah,
show up
yeah.
on time, but that wasn't even a piece of criteria.
Had the old cook from the golf club phone me a few times.
To get you to work.
Are you opening this morning? There's people waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andy O'Coin phoned me a lot.
Yeah.
So
I was just thinking the other day, like how, like my introduction to golf was going to the course with my dad, and my mom basically, you're going to golf, you take the 2 boys with you. And I did not enjoy golf. I'm like, this is boring. Like I didn't get to play, obviously. And I tried driving the cart one time, and I got close to the bridge, and then I got yelled at, and I'm like, why did I come here for this? Like, I don't get to play. I get yelled at. And then it was one summer on the farm, and my dad was watching golf on TV. We only had one TV. So I came out of there and I said to my mom, like, who would watch golf? It's the most boring sport ever. And that same weekend, I had made a hole on our farm and was golfing, and it even had a water hole. I had to go over the dugout to get to the hole. And then I came in and I was watching golf, and my mom's like, just like 2 days ago, you were saying like how boring golf is. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It was something, it's kind of good now.
and you got into the golf course design, kind of like Timmy's pro golf
Yeah,
career,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
You went from hating it.
Non-golfer to architect.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I really didn't play a whole lot of golf, like growing up for sure. And then, once through high school, if I played a round of golf a year in high school, maybe. And yeah. Then I guess my summers at home, like when I was a university student, I would play in the Burstall men's nights. That was once a week. Yeah.
So you went from that to being on a golf-centric podcast.
Yeah. I'm just wondering where it's going to go from here.
Yeah.
Corey?
Your own tour.
Yeah, my own tour. Yes.
I actually was reminiscing about this on Friday. It was my Uncle Ivan's funeral, Scott, Jesse's dad. And so I saw Scott and gave him a hug, and we were remembering a time going out to Mclaren Lake.
Sand Greens.
Yes.
I played there.
I'd never golfed in my life. Didn't even know that there was golf there. I didn't even really know that golf was a thing. And Uncle Ivan was pulling us in a trailer behind the truck. Like it was like one of those ones where it hitches into the back of the truck. What's that called? I don't know. There's a name.
A fifth wheel.
A fifth wheel. And the whole trailer is filling up with dust. And Scott and I can't breathe. We're having a panic attack. We're crying. We're screaming, but we're on like we're on a highway or a dirt road and nobody can hear us. And so we get there and like we're upset about it. Anyways, as I'm reminiscing about this, I'm also thinking, oh my gosh, that's also the first time I ever golfed. And so Aunt Merle and Uncle Pete were also there. And they had a set of golf clubs leaning against the trailer. And there's this 9-hole dirt green golf course there. And I get up the courage to ask Uncle Pete if I can try his clubs. And he says no.
How old are you at this time?
Like, I think it's a summer between grade 5 and 6. Like, I think I'm 11. And so I think Merle lets me use her clubs, which are very terrible.
Probably the Blue Waterfords.
Yeah, I think they were.
Who didn't have a set of those?
And so my brother and I, who's 3 years younger, so he'd be like going into grade 3 or maybe grade 4 at the time. He comes with me, and we go over to this golf course, and the grass is about as long as it is this year, everywhere. And we hit our tee shots because we don't even really know those kinds of words like tee shot or whatever. And I can't find my ball. And so I am just looking around for this ball, and I think I'm probably getting teary-eyed again because, oh my gosh, I can't lose my aunt's golf ball. I think these things are precious. In the meantime, my brother is not helping me. He plays the whole hole. He goes all the way to the dirt green and does his thing. I'm not even there to see it. He not understanding the rules of golf, comes back to the tee. I'm now looking around the tee box because I've advanced maybe a yard. I can't find the ball. And my brother tees up again to play the hole again and hits me in the head with a 9-iron. Like, right here. And so now my brother and I are fighting on the golf course in Mclaren Lake. I'm bleeding. I'm also now crying again. I've had the most emotional weekend of my life, and I still kept playing after that.
Huh. That's a good way to get you hooked.
Yeah.
I watched the little documentary on Lake Trevino the other night. And when my dad was a left-hand golfer, played about twice a year. So we only had left-handed clubs in the garage or in the shed. And back then, a normal day was you took a bottle of or a case of stubby beer bottles and you placed them on the lawn and you played golf and you putted. That was my cousins and I and my brothers. That was just a regular. But the only one I got to have was the left-handed putter. And so I started the game putting left-handed, going beer bottle to beer bottle in my backyard. And that was my introduction to the game. And I still putt left-handed because I only putted left-handed to start my career.
Do you remember one of your first left-handed putting stances?
I've had a lot of putting stances and putters.
Like you got into a squat like a catcher, and you had it tucked up under your armpit.
Oh yeah, I tried the arm walk, except it was
before it was even invented.
It was the armpit lock. Yes, I tried lots of ways to.
I think I would have seen that one even. No?
I side saddled. I had one point. I've had lots.
Oh, and you got that fancy putter from Ontario.
Oh, it was wooden. It was a persimmon putter, a big persimmon putter, and I got to number 4 at Connaught, and I threw it up in the air and it just landed wrong. Like it wasn't a smash into the ground. It was a kind of a throw it in the air, and just the way it landed, right in the hosel of the persimmon, and it cracked it, and I think
I cried for you.
I remember I took it into Doug Bishke. There's a colorful character. I took it into Doug to see if he could do something about it. They said, well, you can't. Like, it's broken right in the spine. And I said, let's see what you can do. And I never, ever got it back. Yeah, persimmon putter. Anybody else you can think of that comes to mind of drawing you into the game?
Playing out in Burstall, like that men's night thing. There was guys playing in jeans and cowboy boots.
So that was the first Cowboy Classic.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think we played behind them on Friday. We played behind 3 cowboys in jeans. It was 37 or 36 out. Oh boy, they only made it 9 holes.
Yeah.
Those guys.
Did your dad golf when you were younger?
No, and still doesn't. Yeah. he plays, but he doesn't golf.
Tell more, Tim, about your dad.
Did you guys just win some money?
We did, yes. Yeah. We do the senior tour. He and I and his old partner Tony Smith, and Bart's gets the misfortune of playing with us in the Connaught one every year, and he just likes to hit at least one shot. That's his day. So this year just happened to be our 17th hole. He got his third drive in, and then on the last hole, par 3, we for some reason he's hitting last. I still don't know why he hit last because we're all teeing off from the same spot pretty much.
He didn't need any more drives.
He didn't need any more, except he did need one more because the three of us, the best one we had was in the bunker, and we still had about 60 yards back on the other two. And he hits his first shot of the day. It hits the side of the hill on the bunker, kicks straight left towards the flag, and we got about 6 feet for birdie. So that's all he talks about. That and Troy's putting, because the left-handed putter went on fire there at the end. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks to all those stubby beer bottles.
Is there many people that play more tournament golf than you?
I feel there is, yeah.
What are their names? Who are these people you're meeting it all the time?
I just had a 1 week stretch there. I don't like
1 week this past week?
well, yeah, I went
Straight from the weekend tournament to the Monday qualifier to
and then Thursday, and then that was it. So just had a stretch there.
So if we were to just add up the entry fees for tournaments in a regular summer
Yeah.
in our city, but in our city, and not counting something like the Wallet Open, because that's gambling. That's not the. Would there be anybody who plays more tournaments other than maybe Billy and Trev would?
Than I do.
I think some of the realtors.
Yeah, all those. There's a lot of charity ones. Like nowadays, there's some of those guys playing all of them.
All of them.
Yeah,
See that's the circuit.
you probably could play just about every Thursday in some charity tournament at some golf course. Like there's that many of them now.
Yeah, you could play a 7 or 8 hour round every Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun.
But you get a lot of tax write-offs.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about, we got into a conversation a month or so ago about some of the golf matches we've been involved in. And so if you think about, it doesn't necessarily have to be for money, but it can be. Who were the people in your most memorable golf match? And what do you remember about the match?
Oh, I think you and I, playing with the boys on Sunday, talked about this. That we used to play out at Redcliff, and Mark Wolf would play, and I would play against Chris Osgood and Neil Little. And they obviously were in a much better financial situation than Wolfie and I were at the time. And I remember we played the back nine first. And
So these are one Stanley Cup winner. 2 NHL goalies at the time,
Yeah.
another pro hockey player, and a pro golfer.
Yeah, pro golf. And with 5 holes left, I think Wolfie and I were up about 40 cents.
I was like thinking you were going to say like 40,000.
No,
Like,
I think we were up about 40 cents each. That was
With
it.
5 holes to go.
With 5 holes to go. And in the last 5 holes, they owed us $460 each.
Would they just press every hole?
It was like 10 press and then double, and then if you lost the double, you owed 4 times that. And so they lost like 800 points this hole and another 780 the next hole. Because if you make a birdie, the score's reversed. We were playing Vegas.
And what were you netting in your income of that time? At that time, you were $1,200 salary a month.
He was sweating that he had to pay 40 cents.
Yeah, I just remember Wolfie chipped in on 18, and Little had about he had about 30 feet for par still, so he was looking like he was going to make a bogey. And Wolfie chips in, and Little just kind of falls to the ground and laid the putter. He'd had enough. But
Did they pay you right there?
I think Ozzy paid Wolfie right then. I think I had to harass Little a little bit longer for some money, but I did get paid though.
Sheldon, you?
Nothing really comes to mind. Like I haven't played a lot of. I would steer clear of that because there's no reason for me to get involved in such a thing.
So if I can
Sure.
say one of my most memorable rounds was a round that I started with you.
You started with me.
Yeah. And
Didn't finish.
Yeah, well, we started on the first hole and we were running a bit late, and we were trying to rush to get going because we were a little behind. I'm not sure why it was taking so long, and I don't know. Maybe it was me hitting first, or was it you, Corey, or I can't remember who was about to hit, and you just went, "Well, this isn't how I planned this." And we said, "What are you talking about?" Well, I thought we were going to be here a little bit earlier, and I had some things I wanted to talk about before we tee off. And do you remember this round?
Oh, now I had the preamble.
You had the preamble. And
This is part of why we're sitting here
That's
today.
right. It was you, was it not,
Yeah,
Corey?
yeah,
And Corey backs off. He goes, "Well, if you got something to say, Sheldon, just say it." And you go, "Well," and you spend about 3 or 4 minutes talking about memories. And no, you know it was, what was the line you said? You said something like,
Do you set goals?
"You set goals." It was a question. It wasn't even a. And then you went into goal setting, and we haven't even teed off. There's 3 groups behind us waiting to tee off, and now we've all backed off. No one's actually hit any shots, and Sheldon has captured the stage to say, "Do you set goals?" Do you remember that round?
I do now, yeah. And the funny thing is Timmy was supposed to play with us that day. And it got switched up, and SP played with us, which was fine. But I thought, oh, it's perfect. I got you guys, and I got Timmy. This will be just right.
He's going to do some professional goal setting with us.
Yeah.
And that really was the start of all of this.
Yeah, and then on hole 3, I said, hey, do you guys ever hear about the alter ego thing?
Yes, that was the Fly,
The Fly,
Beyonce.
Beyonce, yeah. Tim, who's your alter ego?
I don't know. I've never thought about it. I don't stay awake at night like you guys do.
Where's the book?
Yeah, there's a book. Yeah,
Take it
I
over.
guess
It's right
I gotta
behind
do
your
some
shoulder,
reading.
Corey. It's right
Yeah.
behind you, right? Keep the middle, down lower.
Oh, yellow.
Yeah.
It's by a medicine hat boy.
Oh, really? Todd Herman.
You might have to read it, Tim. Well,
Schuler. I should call him
yes,
medicine.
I was going to say, and we might not call him Tim next time.
I'll get back to you on that one.
Oh, I thought this was your most memorable match
Match or
something.
game.
Or
Yeah.
just a game. Yeah,
It could be a game, a match, just one of your most memorable rounds.
and that's up there for you.
Well, because you were so adamant that you only wanted to make memories.
Yeah.
And so that got us talking about the significance of every round, just replaying every round, and why would you do that? You want to make it memorable.
Yeah.
And you recalled to me the three rounds you remember playing with me.
Yeah.
Do you remember them now?
Well, yeah. So we played at Bandon Dunes, and that's not. I always call it Bandon
Dakota Dunes,
I
yeah.
always call it Bandon Dunes. I was taking aggressive lines that day.
Yeah,
and-
very aggressive
yeah.
lines. I didn't know Sheldon, but he kept saying aggressive lines, aggressive lines.
I mean, we still talk about that today, right? So
We
that's,
still
that's,
do.
that's pretty memorable, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got a hole in one when,
We played together.
yeah.
Aggressive line over the coulee. Bent it back on number 12.
It was me, you, and Mac, and I remember you guys hit first, and you guys were saying what club you're using, and I'm like, well, that's not the club. That's not the club I would use.
Well, Max was using a 60 degree, and Sheldon had an 8. No, you had about a 5 iron, maybe.
And I think I had an 8, and then I
8.
switched to a 7. Probably was thinking driver. That's where the Moe bunt came from, the bowl bat bunt. That's where it originated from. I'm like, if anything that guy's doing, I should look to put that into my game, right?
Yeah.
And what's the third round then?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe it was that one. Maybe you were counting
Yeah.
today, that day.
that day, yeah.
Corey?
There's so many memorable.
You've had the longest to think about it.
I know, and I've been racking I'm not even listening to what you guys are talking about. So I've got a. This isn't the most memorable because it's not a match. I have this picture in my head of playing, and I'm by myself. I'm wearing a Nike windbreaker, a pair of Converse
High tops.
No, they're the low ones, but they were blue.
Yeah.
They're in stores again now. And I am singing a song by the outfield the whole round. I'm not going to sing it right now.
Josie's on a vacation.
No. I can't believe. I can't believe.
Oh, yeah, doesn't sound like a song.
Something like that. The things that.
It's from Play Deep, though.
Yep. And I'm just singing that song, and I get to the end and I add up my score, and I shot 33, and I'd only ever broken par once on 9 holes. And I was just like, how can I capture that state that I was in? And no one's going to believe my score.
Yeah.
Because I was by myself.
Well, which, like, if we were just going back to the theme of this podcast, which is people,
Yeah.
clearly Corey's just thinking about himself.
I think I was thinking about Shannon Todd.
Well, could have been. Could have been. I got him in the group. I remember playing with him in a match with Timmy at Connaught. Dizzy, Kinch, Timmy, and I playing a Friday afternoon match. Do you remember this, Tim?
Oh, I think I know.
I think it's one of the first times I've ever seen Tim get really mad and throw, helicopter a club. And you just think about Tim, like, that's not Tim at all. But we were playing for money, but it wasn't a crazy amount. But I think we made Tim putt a shorty on 15, and 15 in Connaught is just a stupid little. You can't make anything on that. So really, it's not a fair green, but we made him putt like a 3-footer. Do you remember this, Tim?
I do. And I was playing so good.
He was playing great, and he was. I think was Kinchin. Who were partners? Diz and I. Diz and I were partners.
Was it? I can't remember.
And somewhere you guys made me putt one earlier in the round on like 12. But on number 2, they gave me a putt on 2. Because it's early in the round, no big deal. But as things got down the line, so on 12, they made me putt one, and I missed. But the presses kept coming. We got to 15, and we'd had a few drinks, I think, and I think Kinch is ready for the and nothing. And so Tim's gonna make, and he misses it. And it was to win the hole, and he threw his putter like it was the longest throw ever. Remember this, Tim?
No, SP's putter throw off, or was it a wedge throw?
Where was that one?
On 18, was that this year or last year? Remember, he fired that thing back to the 100-yard line.
Oh, he did. That's true.
That was his best swing of the day.
It was. Yes.
So don't you think, like, if someone doesn't give you a gimme and you don't make it, it's not their fault.
No, I was.
Oh, Tim blamed us.
I wasn't blaming anyone. I was pissed off at myself. That's why the putter.
But I've thought about this in our weekend groups. So now we're playing for money more often. Like, there's a $5 game for this and a $5 game for that, and it's like it shouldn't be subjective to what a gimme is and what's not. Mm-hmm. Like it should be sim golf.
Yeah,
there's a 4-foot gimme or 3 or whatever it is, but it's not
no situationals. We can't have.
Like that. The round I played, the 2 guys had situationals, and I'm like, well, what the hell's a situational? Like, okay, so let's just have everyone once a round they get to say I don't have to putt. Doesn't matter where it is. Let's make it fair for everyone.
This was what we needed. I was wondering what we needed to get into Moe to just bring it out in him.
Well, I was talking to Erin about the other day, and and I'm like, oh, it's like the gimmies are like, I think everyone's handicap is 2 or 3 higher than what it actually is.
Sure.
And there's no rhyme or reason to what a gimme is and not. There's no standard.
How about a breakfast ball?
Yeah. Like it should be, okay, there's something. Yeah. Something set, and it's the same for everyone, and there's no subjectivity involved. It's cut and dry. And then you don't have to feel bad, oh, he's not giving it to me. Well, no, it's not inside the putter handle or whatever it is that's decided, right? Like,
so do you think we should rotate a referee for each of the rounds? And just one like once every couple of weeks you don't play, you just referee a match for other team groups?
No, I think it's just should be decided as to what
Brassa did this one year at
on the
Old
golf
Works.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody had a piece of tape on their putter.
Sure.
That was and it's surprisingly short.
Especially at Old Works. They're like U.S. Open speed. And
I think it was 30 inches.
It was not much, yeah.
And
Old Works would be really.
like this is 30 inches, I bet.
So you want that to go out then? As a rule?
Yeah. I think we should be the rules committee.
Well, you can have the situational if you're not counting the score that hole.
Yeah.
Like if it's a walk, if it's a double, does it matter?
No, it doesn't.
But it can't be for birdie.
These were both like legit, like par or par, and they took them because it wasn't an easy putt.
Mm-hmm. I'm also of the mind that if you take a breakfast ball, you can't count that hole either.
Yeah.
You can have the breakfast ball
For your pride?
for your pride, but you can't have the hole.
I agree to that. Put that in the new. We're
'Cause
making rules.
I'm already down. I'm down a hole. I can only play 17 holes now.
I'm already down about $150. That's what I'm down.
I'm making a plaque with the 450. I've won off your career.
$4.50.
40 cents.
I lost
$4.50.
I lost $2 to Tim the other day, and he just goes, "This is going on a plaque." You just had a bad stretch for a few years there.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was. Yeah, I brought up the rear end of the golf trip a few times.
Yeah. In your pre sim days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to take about 6 holes to sober up or get drunk or one or the other.
But then what was Lonnie Bosch's excuse? For what? Always winning $5 on a whole golf trip. Maybe sometimes 15.
Well, because he didn't play. He had new clubs. Yes, that was the year he won $750.
Yeah.
New clubs, no rounds played, brand new clubs showed up in the wrapper, and he won $7.50.
Oh, and I think we added $250 to it.
Yeah. I think the only year I played good, I had bad partners. so when it was all partner games. I was like,
That's what Kent said when you missed that putt on 15.
I think the one year we had, I forget how we played it, where you had to count so many of your I think at least 3 each 9. You had to count your partner scores.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And I think I had PD that day, and I think I was like 73, and our team score was 77.
Those are the early years of the trip where it was like Ellie, Baggs, Brassa, and Kinch, or of that group. And then I had to play everybody straight up. I remember those first 4 or 5 years where I couldn't figure out, how am I always last? Yeah, because I'm playing straight up against all the scratch golfers. Yes, that was. Yeah, do you remember that, Corey?
I never won that trip.
I think
You didn't.
Your name's on the trophy, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, when we went down to 4 people.
Oh, yeah.
And you finished in the top 4?
I did finally. Yes. Yeah. But of course, if we've gotten off onto golf trips or money, but this year after how many different matches did we have at Bandon?
Well, I think we did, like we said, 140 holes of golf that we played.
140 goals of golf with 6 or 8 different games total, and we were just exhausted at the end of it. But we had to finish
from the math.
Yeah.
No, that too, but from the trip. But we had to pull all the paper off the wall before we got on our flight the next morning, and so we were just so tired. But we were trying to make sure we got all the And what did
It was $7 top to bottom.
Oh, like separating.
Yes.
separating?
Yeah. Like if you put in 135, like somebody got 142, and
That's
somebody
it.
got
It
128.
was 135. We all put in 135 for gambling, and SP won 142.
Yeah. And I think that included a card game.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I think the biggest money winner was a side bet that we had on the little par 3 competition where we won $10. Yeah.
Timmy, could you ever imagine your golf game has went to where it has when you got that golf sim?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think it was there was a few years when I played a lot as all we did was work in golf kind of back then. And I remember one year I played 2.5 months and never shot around over 75. But I think 10 or 12 year kind of hiatus where you don't play a whole bunch and then you think you're a good player still. There's parts of my game now I think that are way better, but the sim certainly helps for sure. Like I feel like my 100 yards and in that short game aspect is probably the biggest thing I've noticed. But
And what if you go back to the moment just before you acquired the sim, like well, I know it's COVID. We had tried that weird little setup in Terry's shop where we had like duct tape and stuff. What made you take that step?
I really don't deserve any credit. It was all because we had the little makeshift one that we put up in the garage there that I got the launch monitor actually from the guys at Desert Bloom.
Right.
And then
it's a Sky Tracker, right?
Yeah, SkyTrack, and we put the tarp up.
And it had the TV on the side.
Yeah, we just ran it through the iPad into the TV, and I mean it was. And then my dad, like lots of times, it wouldn't register shots, and
I remember putting off the 2x4 because there's no left-handed.
That's right. Yes. And you had to have it right on the red dot to ball the register.
I've almost forgotten this already.
Yeah. And then he's like, "Well, we need an upgrade," and I'm like, "No, this is good. Like I don't." And he's like, "No, you should start looking." And I'm like, "Okay." So, and then I said, "Well, here's what we can get. Oh, we should get a good one." Okay.
Well,
So-
it was a lifesaver for a couple of winters, and it has been awesome.
Yeah,
you
it's-
posted the Shank Shack, yes.
I think
Winters
my
go by.
game's improved.
Yeah. This year, Moe's, yeah. You've,
Crap, or I was lying.
my game is so good. I can't believe it. Thank you, Tim. That's like Bart's at the Shank Shack every once a couple of months.
That was a nice little ripped something or other. What was that? That was
the hernia.
Toward the hernia.
You cut your thumb off. You got your nose.
There's a foot injury, the gout, where you're playing with your.
Yeah, it's been good. If you think about the improvement in people's games just due to Tim Sim, right? Like that. Mm-hmm. And then if it's about people, like think about not having 6-month breaks for connections and relationships with some people that you see in the summer, right? Mm-hmm. To be able to continue those all 12 months a year with lots of people, right?
Especially as hockey kind of waned and
yeah.
Well, I'd see most 5 days a week. And
Yeah,
in the winter, and then start of spring when he's busy seeding and working and that. It's like I haven't seen you in a month and a half.
I said that this year. I see you like, damn, we see each other like 5 times a week in the winter, and I haven't seen you in months.
Yeah. So if you were given an hour or two, not a day, but an hour or two to choose any golfer to sit and have a beer with and just talk golf. And it doesn't have to be some super important golfer. It could be one of us. One of us, you could want to, I guess we're doing that right now, so you wouldn't want to do that right now. But yeah, what golfer would you want to sit and have a beer with and talk golf with for an hour or two? Alive or past?
That's a good question. I was a huge Freddie Couples fan when I was younger. I mean, Freddie's swing looks the same today as it did 30 years ago. But honestly, just from the stories I heard, I think I would maybe have to say Ernie Els. He sounds like a character.
I don't think I'd ever get on a plane with him.
You wouldn't want to do it on an airplane, but yeah, either one of those two, I think.
I don't know the airplane story.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, you guys gotta search it out.
Oh, gotta check that. Yeah, like you know how there's the one tournament and then they bolt right from that one right over to the British Open.
They
all the
got a
time.
private jet or whatever.
Private jet. And so I forget who.
I don't think it was anyone super famous,
No.
really.
Somebody had won that week to get into the British Open, and Ernie offered him a ride over there. I think it was a fairly big guy too. And anyways, so he's like, oh, he's all excited. He gets to fly over there with Ernie, and they get on the plane, and they're on there and just talking, and Ernie kind of goes, now we wrestle. So
I think he headbutts him.
Yeah, he headbutts.
And they're-
I forget who it was. Was it Steve something or other?
It's on another podcast. They'll probably start talking about ours soon.
Yeah.
but,
No laying up.
No laying up.
Oh,
yeah.
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 So
And I think it was on Spit and Chicklets too. They talked about it one time.
I think it
Now
was.
we
Yeah.
wrestle.
Yeah. And he thought he was fighting for his life at the time, and then they get off the plane, and he's like, "Yeah, it's good seeing, good luck this week," and like everything was fine.
There's lots of wine involved, I'm guessing.
Yeah, they were drinking.
Oh,
Yeah.
South African wine.
Yeah.
Sheldon, anybody come to mind?
Maybe Johnny Stark. You guys remember him?
Oh, Johnny Stark, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a...
He was an addict. Like he was an recovering alcoholic, and then they owned the grocery store, the hardware, and the post office in Mendham. He's probably my dad's best friend, and after school, I would come down and walk through the store, and maybe I've picked up a few pop bottles on the way there and cash them in for some candy, and then walk over to the hardware because they were connected. And you could hear the ball rolling because he's always putting. And it's this old wooden plank floor that doesn't have a flat spot on it, but he's practicing his putting on there. And just like he would tell his mom that he had to, because they farmed as well, that he had to go out to the farm and do some work out there, and he'd be in playing at the Connaught.
Big cigar in his mouth.
Loves cigars. Like I would, we farmed right side by side. I was in his tractor, like lots. He smoked these, like, I think they were White Owl cigars, and every, like a 6-pack of Coca-Cola with 2 or 3 gone. But
he was a golf addict.
He was a golf addict,
Okay.
also cigars, also alcohol at one time. Like he had said he would wake up in the middle of the night and grab a bottle of like Jack Daniels off the bedside table.
Wow.
Yeah. He replaced that just with golf. And
Can I do a little Mendham aside? Some of you may be aware I've gotten into sewing.
yes, yeah.
So I took the sewing machine into Duix last week to get it tuned up. It was locked up. And so, but now the bobbin is good. The hook timing is good.
You and I were in Sewing 7 together.
I know sewing things. So I go to pick it. I get a call from the guy. It's fixed. I'm in there. I've got my little Kenmore portable 1969 sewing machine, and this lady, Dorothy, comes in and says, "Oh, what you got there?" And she says, "Oh, that's a beauty. That's a beauty." And then she starts talking to the lady, and I hear her say that she's from Mendham. And I go, "You wouldn't know any of the Mosers." She goes, you know some Mosers? I go, "Yeah, Sheldon." "Oh, I just had coffee with Ernie yesterday." No, she didn't say I had coffee. Ernie was there for coffee.
Yeah, it's
yesterday.
a social outing.
Yes. And then I said my mom was from Richmond, and Jessie. Oh, and then the lady who works there is from East End. And I said, "Oh, you're an East Ender, Kinch." "Oh my God." And I'm going, I found my people.
Yeah. Now you're going for coffee.
You found your people through sewing.
Yeah.
Oh, you just stitched that all together.
Yeah.
Zing.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Yes. Corey?
Well, if I had to pick if I was picking like a famous person, it would be like somebody like a Lee Trevino or something that, like, I would want to hear some of the inside stories of those things that were happening back in the day. Maybe even someone like Frank Sinatra, even
Bob Hope.
Yeah, Bob Hope. Yeah, that would be very interesting to be privy to. But I think for the most part, this is my favorite thing: is sitting around just with friends, and oftentimes it is the same story. Over and over again. I think we're going to find in this podcast that we're really going to be testing our 50-year-old memories here to go, "Oh my gosh, are we telling the same story we told on the last one?"
Tune in next week for the same story.
We'll all meet at Duke Sewing Center to talk it over. Yeah.
I actually need Turner here to be. Dad, you guys talked about that.
Yeah.
That's why he's left.
Yes. Yeah.
He's heard it all.
I've seen this
before.
before. I've heard this before.
How about you?
Well, because I wrote the question, I thought about this a lot, and I was going, well, like I'm a huge Arnold Palmer fan, but I think not because of the golf, but sure golf, but I'd want to spend only an hour or two with Moe Norman. He was brought up in a time where no one understood. Most likely autism, but certainly some maybe brain damage that he had or something that had happened to him, and someone figured that out about him as an older person. But he would just keep repeating the same things over and over. But if you spent an hour or two with him, like it would be just a fire hose of information. And if you didn't listen to the pace of it, or you would hear some things about the golf swing and about golf that would be so fundamental and would change your game that you could just rely on that every single time. Not complicated, because he wasn't complicated. I watched some of his videos and he says that, but to do that in person, sitting across from a guy with a handful of teeth, lived out of his car for most of his adult life, didn't do laundry, I don't think.
Wore turtlenecks in the weather we're having today.
That's right. Yeah, like just to spend an hour or two, that would be really cool.
His name came to my mind when Timmy was talking about couples, and I was going, but like, would I be able to comprehend him? Like, we need Lorne Rubenstein. That's who we need, because he's like the surrogate for him, really. Well,
when I was trying to map out today, I was thinking about what are some of my favorite golf essays I've ever read. So not golf books, but essays where, and so I was starting to go back, and like most of them were Lorne Rubenstein articles. You know how old Lorne Rubenstein is? 76, and he's covering the game.
Right, and he goes to he's at the Open.
Yeah, he's
has a
everywhere.
trip every what's Darnick or something.
That's right, Royal Dornoch. Yeah, he. I just looked him up, going, well, is he still writing? And yeah, he lives in Jupiter, Florida, where and he was his work now. He has games with all of the 75 plus guys down there who are playing 9-holers or from the short tees, but they were all pro golfers at one time. So he tells lots of stories like this, except out of Duke's sewing center with them. All right, last one. If you can't choose someone we've chosen already, if you could choose to live a week in the shoes of any golfer, what golfer would you choose to live a week in? And I would probably, let's look forward. We've looked at how we got into the game and some people from the past and some matches from the past, but thinking about golf where it stands right now and the people in golf. And if you could go and just take their life for 1 week, looking ahead.
Do we get to keep like the shoes
and their earnings? But you would be the player, so you might have not make the cut. And
I just want the sponsorship
Sure.
endorsements. Yes.
Yeah. Who would you choose to live? And it may have been dependent on. I was wearing my British Open hat today in honor of finishing the British Open, and it could be Shoffley, but it could have changed throughout the weekend if we would have done this on the weekend. But yeah, who would you take a week in the life of?
Go ahead.
I was thinking, I don't know, two guys I like right now. First one that comes to mind, I'd say Max Homa. Always, but for no reason, I just think he's
funny, smart,
entertaining.
You just want to be him.
I kind
of have the same posture.
Yeah, he seems like he enjoys himself out there. So, I mean, yeah, but not for a lot of deep reasons, that's for sure. But
who's the other guy?
I do like Shoffley too, but again, for no reason, just those are the two guys I seem to like right now when I watch golf. But
if I were like, Scheffler would be too boring. Like, I think he, other than like the going to jail part,
winning.
like I think his life just like is probably nice and regular. Like I was listening to No Laying Up, and they were talking about it. Scotty, he's probably got like a spreadsheet keeping track of best baby strollers. Like trying to figure that out. Like he's probably pretty serious about it, and going like because he's really just a normal dude. Although to be literally in his shoes as they're dancing through Impact would be an interesting feeling.
Yeah.
For a week. So I'm not going to pick Scheffler up, and I haven't made my pick yet. And I'm going to stop talking in a moment.
We're coming back to you.
Yeah.
So maybe we can. You don't have to take on the personality of the person you're thinking about. No,
I don't know, but who's DeChambeau, and just how he's taken a different kind of mindset or whatever to be like, I'm going to work out this way to just, to hit it as far as I possibly can and make that work or whatever. I don't know. I kind of like that he's kind of went down a different path than what's been gone down before, maybe.
He's kind of said F you to the whole system. Like size of grips, length of clubs, you name it. He's just...
everything's up for change or whatever. Like, I don't know. Kind of like podcasting.
Yeah, the alter ego. Like
Well, he's actually, if you look at what he's doing right now, he has altered his alter ego.
Yeah.
Like he's like this out there fun guy doing the media things and social media, and he wasn't like that before. Like it's really one of the first social media posts I saw him was with this big trophy with Eric Trump. After he won the U.S. Open, and even when he did the stuff before that, like it was like the 9 smoothies a day and 48 eggs. Like it was like pretty boring.
Yeah.
But he's kind of gone out there a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I think when he got into that long drive world and that, and how laid back it is, and he certainly his personality has changed. I'd say like last couple of years for sure.
Like when we start making reels.
Yeah. Then it'll be big time.
Yeah, there's a photo shoot after this.
Is there?
Timmy?
Does it go up on the wall?
It just goes on the internet.
Yeah. Shirts on or off? You, Barts?
I'm waiting for Corey to come back with his.
Huh.
I was thinking Joel Dahlman because you keep wearing his hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not taking on their personality, but what am I taking on when I'm in their shoes?
Well, you just get to live whatever they're living. You don't have to live it as them. You get to live it as you can pretend to be them, sure.
Okay, I changed my pick. I'm taking Dustin Johnson.
Just doing nothing, just hanging out with Wayne.
Well, yes, that would be the best part.
Yeah.
Yes, I just love hanging out with my father-in-law on the beach in Florida.
Did you have a wife?
Yes, you definitely wouldn't want to be Brooks Koepka.
Maybe you could be Rory for a week and just find out like what are all of the distractions and weights that guy's carrying. Because I kind of feel like that's the thing, that if I could figure that out for him by being in his shoes for a week and then tell him, then I can monetize it as myself. And I think we're off to the races.
Shouldn't someone on his team just be like, hey, there's no more distractions? Like it's just golf for you.
Well, they could say there's no more distractions. I got to get you to this press conference here first.
Yeah.
You can get over here.
Right. And divorce your wife and get back together and be the tour spokes. Like, he's taken on a lot. Yeah. So we will hashtag Rory McIlroy's team in this episode.
And solve it for him?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't 4 middle-aged men from Canada be able to solve it?
I used to think I was part Irish.
Because you had a Rovers tape or an Irish Rovers?
No, I thought I was. Then when I got the blood work back, I wasn't.
So Tim is he has replaced Homa with.
Well, it depends what your
PJ.
base is on.
You've never even met Max Homa's wife.
We were talking about who would. Tim,
I was thinking about the 50 million.
we couldn't squeeze two
however-
words out of Tim at the beginning, and now he's talking about all the wives on the PGA Tour. Corey,
I answered. I'm gonna go help Rory out.
Rory.
Yeah.
Oh, those are big. Those are. I don't.
I think we have the same size feet. They're not big. They're not big.
He's
shoes to
short.
fill.
He is a short guy.
He's my build.
Yeah, yeah. Same and hit you, and you hit it a long ways too.
Yeah. Just about.
Just about same. Yeah, same bank account. I like it would be great, but I think the chase of being a PGA Tour pro has passed me by.
You
So
want to be a caddy?
I just I don't know that I
Seniors
don't know.
tour. Come on.
What's that?
Seniors tour.
So I'm thinking one of those two things. Yeah, like I think I would pick a guy on the senior tour who kind of just looks like they just love going out and golfing, and they're making money. They don't ever talk about making tons. They make money.
Scotty Mclaren.
Oh yes, you could be him. I don't like his swing. So it would have to be someone whose swing I really liked. But it would be a senior tour player and just playing a 3-day event where people just want to talk to you about what we're doing right here versus the little quips that those little quips that PGA Tour pros have to say because they're getting interviewed and they just repeat it so they don't get into trouble and they're just themselves, right? They've grown into themselves or to their skins and they just get to go play golf at these beautiful places where people make dinner. They're probably maybe Jimenez. Like I think just living
There's an alter ego guy. Like you look at the old pictures of him and his.
Yeah.
I think he's an accountant.
yeah.
He does not look like some swashbuckler.
No. So I think him. I think I would be Miguel Angel Jimenez because he just looks like he loves golf and he loves all the things that come with being a golfer. And he takes himself kind of seriously, but if you watch his warm up from a few years ago, like he's not really stretching. He's just enjoying. And someone else I think said it just before that. It's like to be a caddy, not for one of the highest guys, but Scheffler's caddy. I think that would be pretty mundane, and you get to see all of the inside. You just don't have to be all caught up in it. Like Joel Damon.
Ted Scott. Right? That's his name,
But being Joel Damon's caddy, that would be really hard. I think that's really hard work anyway. But something just a little bit back, or have already arrived at this is who I am, and I'm not apologizing.
Tyrell Hatton's caddy. You don't even have to carry the clubs.
Yeah.
Why would he
He
do?
carried his own clubs.
Did he do at the British Open?
Yes.
Awful.
Just for a hole.
Why?
He was punishing himself.
Is that what he said? He was angry.
He said he wasn't good enough to have someone carry his clothes.
I might be Tyrell Hatton. All right. Anybody else? Corey, you're finished with that? You sure?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of sewed together thinking back about golf. We and the people in golf, and we worked it all the way to today's people. We didn't cover, which could be for another episode. We didn't cover some of the people that we can't wait to golf with tomorrow or the next day. We have them as guests sometimes. We want to hear from them. So we've talked about them as PGA players or as pro players, but probably somewhere down the road thinking about the people and the places of where we really want to see ourselves golfing in the next couple of years. Corey sent out a neat thing, which I must have missed, about the Australia one.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would be...
So the no laying up guys, like they do something called tour sauce, something sauce, travel sauce. Maybe I don't know. We're not doing them any justice. They're really quite good at what they do.
But they've gotten good at it.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is their 9th year
Oh, really?
of doing a trip. And so they had a band and theirs was on a loop on the TV in the hotel room. And there was one guy of the group who had committed to playing left-handed that year, even though he's right-handed. And there were a lot of, like, they do the side camera work in the interviews going, I really deeply appreciate how committed he is to this.
But he's got to
But
quit.
man, is it hard to watch. But this last year they went to Australia, which was a return trip for them to Australia. And the quote at the start is, "This might be the best golf experience in the world." From courses that everybody can play, like you can pay a green fee and get on them, to the people that are there, to the company, to the weather, so maybe we can just follow around what they did.
Well, because I was just thinking about the expense of a trip like that. So I think they did, it's probably 10 or 12 days maybe to Australia, 17-hour flight. That was from JFK in New York. So like long commitment, a long flight, big commitment. And they had an agent over there, or they had a travel agent or a person that.
There's some pretty good sponsors too.
Yeah. So there's a lot of background work being done for them to get them to
They
certain
have really good sponsors.
Duix, you gonna foot the bill for us?
The Mendham,
The Mendham coffee shop.
and post office, hardware store /
It's now
candy
it's now
store.
closed, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They had a couple of sponsorship deals go bad.
Moe's one-holer on his farm
Yeah,
that
yeah.
didn't project.
We were doing an Airbnb.
It's just an Airbnb.
Airbnb, yeah.
So thanks, Timmy, for joining us today.
Well, thank you guys. This
Yeah.
is fun.
Lots of fun. And until next time.
All right. There's a little cheers before the clap.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.